What's up, YouTube? ODST General back again with some Starship Simulator. And it's been about 5 months since my last video on this, guys, and I want to try my best to cover all the updates that have happened since then. I will say that for some of you, the updates probably won't have come quite as fast as what you would have hoped, but there's definitely been some big changes. I know a lot of you guys are going to be excited to see this. Definitely some important stuff getting fleshed out that needs to be done here for obviously the game's core mechanics and actually traveling around. So we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna turn on our sensors here, which is one of the new features that is here. One of the smaller things, the holo display command interface is set up. Now it's most of these are placeholders, but if we actually look at it, you can see holo display for the helm, for comms, tactical, engineering, and of course the sensors and the ability to turn it off. Alert conditions are down here. Those haven't changed at all, so we're not going to mess around with that at all either. One thing that I can't really show off to you very well is that the Roche limit for planets has been updated, so that basically now planets will stop spawning inside of stars as was happening before. And then what will also happen now is if a moon spawns too close to a planet, that planet will then, instead of getting a moon, get a planetary ring like Saturn would have. Moons are not themselves implemented yet, but that's how planetary rings and stuff will be generated, is based off of how close to a planet a moon has spawned in. On top of that, the beginnings of life generation code has been added in and will begin appearing as text descriptions. Now, right now, that's just placeholder, or work in progress, I should say. Most of that's not implemented, but the base framework for that has been set up and is ready to go in the game. One that I can kind of show off to you guys is the switch from the real stellar data to the Gaia catalog. So obviously in the game previously there was actual stellar data, but only extended to like 50 light years around Earth, but it would, in that area, it would show you actual stars and stuff from a catalog. The catalog's been switched to the Gaia catalog, and if you go in here you can see like Gaia DR3, Gaia, DR3, HD 318775, so on and so forth. So for a 2000 light year range, you can now see all these actual star systems and stuff, which have been charted out to various extents. Then, obviously here, since we're at the sensors, we can take a look at that. The sensors are currently the primary focus of the roadmap and the update before the demo gets updated. They are going through a major overhaul. There's been a lot of changes to the sensors, some big, some small. Obviously, if we go here into the long range, there's some color coding and stuff that's going on here. Right now we're filtered out to G-class stars, but if I go ahead and swap this over, you can see we've got different colors kind of based off of the star's color itself, I believe. And we've got new star types. We've got L, Y, and T-class stars. We're currently on L-class star, which is probably my favorite. It produces this kind of nice, almost sunset-like lighting here. It's a very orangish glow. Looks really good. The T and Y class stars, those are very, very, very dim. They pretty much produce almost no light, so if you take the ship to them, the ship is almost completely dark and pretty much impossible to actually see next to the star, where some of the stars you go up to, it's pretty blinding. The L class, we don't even need the polarization on the windows to actually be able to see out and look at that thing. It's a nice star. I like it. But we have different sensor ranges that are currently being worked on. The long-range sensors have had most of their work done, so you can see we've got basically new fields and stuff. If you go in here, you can click on View Detail for system, and it provides you a drop-down tree. So basically you get the actual star, and then you get a sub-list of all the planets in there. Now, this one's been kind of scanned a little bit, and I'll talk more about that in a second here. But you can see we've got all these atmospheric terrestrial planets and the dwarf planet and so on and so forth there. If we go to a system we haven't explored, you can see the star, but everything else is unknown planets. So if we go ahead and we click Initiate Survey, our long-range scanner system will start scanning. It'll show you that's currently active survey mode, and it'll go through however many planetary bodies are in that system. and you get a bar of progression in here, and now it actually tells us what these are. So you can see we've got a couple of atmospheric terrestrial planets, a class 1 gas giant, a couple of ice giants in there, so you get a little bit more information on the system here. And then if you were to actually go to the system, you would go medium range, and again you would get this tree here, which you just get the drop down tree by default, and you can initiate an additional scan, which goes through, and just like the long range scan, it's going to give you another scan here that'll give you more information on the field, which is still work in progress, so you're not really getting more information, but it will give you more information. It'll give you another bar of progress on the side here, so there's 3 tiers of progress that you can get from the scanning, one from long range, one from medium, and one from short range. If we were to go back to the long range scanners, that would bump up our exploration from the medium range scanners to 25%, so you get 10% at long range, 25% with the long range and medium, and then of course that's going to go up again to the short range, and then you'll get the rest of it from actually like going and exploring the planets eventually. We have the ability to change the focus of the ship, so here we've got the ship over here, kind of closer to Earth, a little ways off from Earth, but you know, not super far away. We can switch the focus now, so we can now see the manual sector, which was kind of a thing before. It gives us the sector information of that part of the galaxy, which is part of the central bulge. A little ways off from the center of the galaxy, but not super far. We get known objects, so anything in range of the sensors out there, it'll tell us what is out in that part of the galaxy. So we have 1 B class in range, 1 A class, 13 F class stars, 25 G class stars in range of the sensors, 76 K class, 2000 M class, you know, so on and so forth. There's a whole bunch of stuff. There's a number of black holes out there. Now, some of these have not been implemented yet. The white dwarfs, the neutrons, giant stars, Wolf Riot, T-Tauri, rogue planets, and whatever the unknown is going to be, which will probably be like space stations and stuff like that. Those have not yet been implemented, but eventually you'll be able to see all of the stuff that's out there. Now, one of the nice things is that now also hooks into the long-range sensor, so I can swap back and forth between the ship and where our scanners are. So I can click switch focus, and you can see there's a block of sensor data, because the long-range sensors are scanning a block of the sector here. So this is a sector of stars, and you can see that it's giving us all of this information. So that's maxed out, so if we go ahead and we expand this out, we can get that to look a little bit more appealing. But this will actually show us all of the stars in that sector around the sensors here. So, and of course that'll change as you zoom in and out and stuff, depending on where you're at, where you're looking. But you can see we've got this L class, this T class, L class, so on and so forth. If we switch focus back to the ship, different stars, because we're now scanning around the ship. Obviously the filtering, you guys kind of saw that. I think we've talked about that a little bit before in my last video. It wasn't working, but you can actually filter out to specific stars. Auto refresh now works. So say we were to leave this L-class star we were at, and we were to turn auto refresh off, and we were to actually go out to this other sector, which would take, you know, days obviously to travel there in real time, so we're not going to do it. If I were to leave the auto refresh off, when I switched to ship focus, it would just keep this L-class star. It wouldn't populate with any new stars that are around us, so then we could just plot course back to this planet that way without having to input coordinates manually or anything like that. Eventually I do believe there's plans to actually like have a database of like coordinates that you can save for planets and be able to like input information on them or something. So that'll be nice to have, but in the meantime, if you're worried about losing a planet and you don't want to, you can always turn auto refresh off so you can travel back to that planet. Again, medium range, there's not too much different here right now. The medium range holograph is currently turned off because the medium range sensors are what's currently work in progress with the dev builds and getting finished up, so there's no sensor display for those currently, but that would show the bands for the habitable zone and all that stuff. If we switch to short range sensors, we now have something that I talked about previously in my other video but was not yet implemented, which is now if you click on a planetary body in short range, which is just what's immediately around the ship, you'll get a 3D hologram of it. Now, obviously looking out at the star versus this 3D model, there's some pretty big differences, but I do believe that's because this doesn't show lighting or anything. So this is what the texture of the sun looks like basically underneath there, and then the lighting and stuff kind of does the rest, I do believe. This is still a work in progress system though, so that might not be necessarily reflecting perfectly accurately. It might just be basing it off of the kind of thing and giving you like a default texture or something that I'm not positive of. But yeah, you can actually now pull that up and look at the 3D models. And again, if say you want to have that up for whatever reason and you don't want to see that as the captain, you can just come on here and turn off the hologram. You can scan target for the short range. That's not currently implemented, but again, that would finish out that last tier and give you some additional progress for the long range sensors. There is also a surface map, but because we're around a sun, it won't show us anything. But this just projects a 2D map for the planetary surface on here, so you can look at that way. So if we go to the medium range, and let's I guess let's do that dwarf planet. Actually, we'll do something closer because that. I don't know how far the light's going to travel from this sun to the further planets. So let's go ahead and let's do something that's a wee bit closer. And then, oh, there it goes. Okay, I was going to say. Once we get there, we can take a look at it. So now that we're away from the sun, that's disappeared off of our short-range sensors. And once we arrive at the next planet, that should pop up. Not too much of a difference in terms of the 3D model for it. It's a teeny bit different here, I do believe, but... Oh, actually, maybe I might have bugged it out. Unless I clicked something here I didn't need to, that changed that. Let's... I was gonna say, that looks very similar. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I mean, again, it doesn't really look much different, but teeny bit different. Obviously, the lighting from the sun plays a big difference, so because of the very orange color of the sun, the lighting itself is very reddish looking at this distance. So it looks really cool. And, yeah, I'm not really sure what the distance display is, but if we go back to galactic position, we can swap between the galactic center and the focal point. So galactic center obviously is focused on the center of the galaxy. Focal point is based off of wherever the ship is looking, so right now it's based off of the manual sector, which is just a little offset from the galactic center. But if I were to swap focus from the manual sector back to the ship, you can see the shifts on over, so that basically the holographic table is just kind of focused on wherever the ship is, and then we could like zoom this in so you can kind of track the ship a little bit more closely as it travels through the galaxy. Aside from that, I think that's all the major stuff that's currently in with the sensors. There hasn't really been any changes to the helm or anything that's notable. The bridge lighting, as you guys might be able to tell, is a little bit different. So in a couple of other areas, we now have some room lighting changes here. So we actually have the panels like the XO and CO office and some of the other rooms on the A deck and stuff where we can actually now go and change the lighting here to reflect whatever lighting we want. So we've got kind of a little bit of dimmer, cooler lighting here because that's the look I personally kind of like. Nothing else on A deck worth of note, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to swing on down to the B deck. We're going to pass by the ship's new cat, which has been stuck on the stairs in my game for some reason. Don't know why. The piano has MIDI support. I don't have a plug-in keyboard, but if you do, you can now actually properly play the piano, and it's probably going to sound a lot better. The controls for the B deck are hidden here behind the bar, so again, like the bridge, you can turn the lighting off, you can change the lighting temperature, all that stuff if you guys want to mess around with that. Now this is where the rest of the focus for this update has been largely centered around the B deck, which we've got new wall paneling, some new ceiling paneling, which is work in progress. The security desk is obviously new and something that's been talked about a couple times, basically to help prevent people from trying to sneak into, you know, either the VIP quarters with ill intent or people who shouldn't have access to the bridge, like, you know, maybe some of the guests stationed here and stuff. They'll have to go through security checkpoints to actually be able to get access to those areas if they're allowed to get through there. As far as the wall paneling goes, obviously not super crazy different, but there has been a number of changes. Probably most important, but kind of a small thing here, is that the wall panels are now labeled. So we have BA115-R. On the other side, we have BA116-L. Now, for a lot of you guys, it may be apparent what that is right offhand, but just to clarify the purpose of that, basically, if you're an engineer, maintenance officer, whatever, and the ship gets damaged or just, you know, wear and tear, and you have to do basic maintenance, you'll have to at some point come along and remove these wall panels, get back behind there to access the actual like circuits and stuff aboard the ship to do repairs. And there's actually a bug with that one, but you know, you basically come along in here and it might tell you, hey, go to the B deck, port side, panel 105 right. And that's what this is. This is B deck, port side of the ship, panel 105 right side. If we look on the other side here, we have BP 105L2, and I'm guessing basically each of these will be kind of labeled based off of that. So basically it's supposed to be kind of like opposite one another. So because of the way these are cut out, you have L1, L2, and these ones are kind of funky just because of the way the rooms and stuff are set up. And I'm guessing maybe they'll be kind of reflected to a lesser extent on the other decks. I think the B deck's probably going to be a little bit fancier looking. The flooring has also obviously been updated, so floor customization now extends to the B deck, and you can see you've got the resin and stuff like that. The elevator also functions now for the most part, and the reason I say for the most part is that, well, the elevator itself does function. Not all of the rooms, or not all of the floors, correction, are accessible via the elevator. So there's some clipping, stuff like that, because again, this is work in progress placeholder. But if we go down to some of the decks, you can't actually get out the elevator on every deck. But if you're using it to travel between B deck and engineering, you can do that. As far as engineering goes, not much in the way of changes out there, unfortunately, so not much to really talk about for you guys. What we are going to do is we're going to head back up to the bridge. Now, one thing you may notice is that while I'm walking around here, no head bob. Head bob has been turned off by default. It is still available in the options if you prefer head bob. I would guess most people are kind of indifferent to it and will probably just leave it off, but I know a lot of people were definitely bothered by the head bob too. And so for those of you who were bothered by it, you no longer have to put up with it. It is now off by default. And yeah, there's a couple of other accessibility options. Right click to zoom has been implemented, and the little dot there in the center, the aiming reticle, can be turned off as well. There's been a number of changes to the ship's exterior hull, which is still very much work in progress. We've talked about some of this previously, so not too much has changed here. It's a little bit harder now that we're away from the sun. I should have thought about that beforehand. But you can see there's some placeholder like gun turret mounts here, and eventually, yeah, there will be weapons mounts placed on various parts of the ship in those locations, which are, again, kind of hard to see because of the lighting of the sun, and those might not be the only locations, depending on how things pan out. Now, around here somewhere, I had a camera drone, and I cannot recall where I left it. So we're going to go ahead and grab ourselves a new drone, and we're going to use that to try and explore the ship. Actually, you know what? I think maybe it's just easier if we just walk. We'll just do the walking. It's probably a little bit slower, but it'll be a little bit easier to navigate instead of trying to mess with the scroll wheel and do all that stuff. So B deck hasn't really changed. C deck's had some minor updates. With the interior here, you can see some of the floor paneling and stuff that was on B deck has been moved down here. If we go to the back of the ship, certain parts of the ship have been expanded out. Obviously, C deck is missing a lot of the flooring. Now I'm getting stuck on the flooring, wishing I brought the drone instead. But But you can see we now have some new hallways and stuff here that actually go up to the edge of the ship. You have some windows and stuff. One of the potentially what's going to be cooler areas here of the ship is these kind of side rooms. I'm not fully sure what we're going to see in these areas, if these are just going to be kind of like common areas, you know, for like stools and stuff when crew's off duty to just kind of be able to like hang out here. But we have these big holes in the ship here then that expands up into space, and that should be like the like a big staircase or something here that'll wrap up around each side of the ship, and probably have like a glass dome or glass window or something up there that the crew will actually be able to like look up and out of the ship. Since we are now down here, if we come around here on the side, there's these things here. I'm not sure what the plan is for these. I'm guessing these will be like planters and like benches combined or something like that. Though it's kind of a lot of places to like have just random benches just all over the place. Got a staircase, and this expands out so you can see some more of the expanded area. And again, a lot of this is just really basic blockouts for it, so some of this is probably going to change pretty significantly, but this is the kind of current version of the shuttle bay, which has seen some pretty significant changes with this this current iteration. And still possible they'll, in fact, not only possible, but very likely it'll undergo massive changes. Now, there is some other rooms. I'm guessing they're on the front of the ship, so we're in the back of the ship. So I can't recall what floor they're on, but we're going to travel around on this floor because I think they're on this floor. We're going to try to get to the front of the ship, so we should be about halfway now. We've got some side rooms and hallways that extend down this way. They'll have some additional rooms and stuff split off from them. So this looks like it's going to be one of the weapons rooms access points. I'm not sure what the plan is for all of these rooms. There was a small temporary, you know, thing for the layout of the ship. I'm sure as things get developed, that's going to change somewhat. I got a big room here. Actually, I've not even been in this room myself. This is my first time finding this too. Kind of an interesting room. Kind of almost like a liminal space thing here going on with some of these too. And I'm not sure. Maybe it is here and I just don't recognize the room. But yeah, like we're gonna get like a theater room, and we're gonna have like the mess hall and the medical lab and all sorts of other larger facilities and stuff. But obviously a lot more space for habitating the ship and having like leisure activities. There's gonna be, you know, a gym and stuff like that. So one of the comments I saw on the Discord, on the Steam discussions page was, what's the purpose of being a passenger? And the passenger is just to ride around on the ship, is ultimately all it is. It's just to watch the, you know, crew do the ship. But there's gonna be leisure activities, so like if you find some of the leisure activities, like just watching movies at the theater in game for whatever reason, fun, or you want to go to the gym and, you know, whatever mini games end up getting developed out for that, like maybe like tennis or whatever they end up doing, you know, you're gonna be able to go around and do that stuff and just kind of do it at your own leisure. And I think for a lot of people, stuff like that will probably be plenty of fun to do. Yeah, I'm not sure what floor the theater would be on. I know I've been in there before. I feel like this has got to be the front of the ship, given how it's extended out. I don't remember seeing the staircase though, but I'm pretty sure I've been in the theater room. At the ship being as dark as it is. Here it is. Okay, I'm pretty sure this will be the theater, because obviously this would be kind of like the setup for the stairs where everybody is, and then you have the screen here in the center. So I'm pretty confident that's what the intent for this room is this is going to be the theater room. And then I'm not sure if they plan to keep the doors up there on the top or how that's going to exactly work, but I'm sure there'll be like walkways or something with like railings and stuff going down each side. But this will probably be a very common area to see a lot of crew, like the off-duty crew. This is kind of the leisure center of the ship, so you'll have the mess hall and the the theater and whatever else the crew might be doing when they're not on duty. And then as you get more towards the center of the ship, you get the actual like more important stuff, like the actual like science labs and the computer systems and stuff like that. So I think that's more or less everything, guys. I mean, there's been a lot of updates and stuff. Obviously, the ship hull interior has changed pretty massively, and it's very, very, very much work in progress, and which has been the case for quite some time. Unfortunately, I don't know how long until the demo update comes out. Initially, Dan had mentioned aiming for like a month or so after the Kickstarter to get the demo out, and obviously we're well beyond that. I think there's been a number of changes that had not initially been planned that we've seen with some of this stuff. Like the ship hull interior is probably a little bit more fleshed out than I think what he had initially planned on doing for getting that updated and everything. As far as behind the scenes type of stuff, I'm not 100% up to date currently either, just because obviously I've not been producing videos or anything. I've been kind of tied up with other stuff. I do know they brought some concept artists on board and that they're looking for some other roles that they're trying to get filled that they haven't had any luck getting filled. So we do have some concept art for what the finished Magellan should look pretty close to. There's going to be some differences between the concept art and what they're doing, but I'll go ahead and I'll pop that up on screen for you guys to take a look at. And then, yeah, hopefully we shouldn't have to wait too terribly much longer. I mean, once the sensors are done, I don't know if he's going to want to push the update pretty much as soon as the sensors are done. Obviously, we do have the roadmap, and about 18 of the 30 items set for the roadmap are completed. So right now it's only about halfway done, but obviously having like a full year uh, between the Kickstarter and getting the update out isn't ideal, especially when initially it was said that the early access will hopefully come out within about a year or so of the Kickstarter, give or take, which is very much not a hard number, but I would hate for that just to be like the single roadmap update to get it out and for it to take that long, because I know there's a lot of skepticism from some very vocal parts of the community. That's like, is this going to be another Star Citizen? Is it going to take 10 years? So on and so forth. And it's a very big and ambitious project, and while there's some great stuff here, I do know it is taking a good while, and there's a lot of stuff that needs to be done. But with that being said, like I said, even though it's not, maybe quite as much progress as some people would hope, there is definitely some decent progress being made and some important stuff getting knocked out. And I forgot we did travel to the planet where it's at now to show off the 2D map, because I couldn't show that off with the sun, and I forgot to show that off. So here's that. This is what the 2D map looks like. Probably a little bit more exciting with a terrestrial planet, or if you had something that had like alien buildings on the surface or something, it might look a little bit cooler. But you can now pull up that 2D map if you're interested in that. Alright guys, yeah, I think that is everything though. I mean, again, there's a lot of smaller stuff. There's some stuff I can't really show off to you guys because it's back-end code stuff that's definitely been focused around like optimization and stuff like that, which is great stuff, but difficult to show off in a video. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video and the update. And I will try to keep updated as the game continues development. Try and obviously get back into the channel a little bit if I can here, but thank you guys for watching. Take it easy, and I'll see you all in the next one.